Joining me to discuss preparations ahead of the election is Yaga Africa's Program Manager for Election, Paul James. He joins us from Imo State. Also, TVC News correspondent Joseph Konde joins me from Bayelsa State. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on TVC News at 1. Let me begin with you, Mr. James. You are on ground already in Imo State. What are your observations about INEC's level of preparedness ahead of the poll?
Well, just a correction. I am back in Abuja. Last week in Imo, I was there just to meet with stakeholders and also help prepare observers for the election. So we are setting up our data center in Abuja from where we hope to track. We thought Abuja would be more central to track the elections in the 3 states. But having said that, last week from the engagement we had, especially with the Independent National Electoral Commission, specifically the INEC reg, what we saw to a large extent was the kind of the level of the detailed preparation that INEC have undertaken so far. In the last 3 weeks, according to stakeholders in the state, they have praised INEC's effort, one in the area of providing public information or public communication around what the commission is doing. We know, for instance, that the commission had completed, have dispatched all non-sensitive materials to the local government. They have been batched. We are also aware that the commission has provided resources to the electoral officers in the different states to set up the registration area centers. And of course, we know that at the moment, the commission has submitted the list of polling units to parties, and then the list of registered voters rather to party, and as well as have released also the list of number of voters that have collected PVCs in the 3 states. And then as we speak also this week, today and tomorrow, the commission is meeting with stakeholders, a larger pool of stakeholders, largely candidates of all the parties and also other stakeholders in the states. One, for the commission to share with them their readiness report, and also by tomorrow, the National Peace Committee will also engage the candidate to sign peace accord ahead of the election. So to a large extent, we thought for all intent and purpose, we thought the commission is operating on a right footing, and the commission is also committed to ensuring the credible poll. But again, we'll wait to see what happened on Saturday. But to the best that we know, we thought they had done all the right thing to ensure a credible election.
All right, let me bring in our correspondent, Joseph. What really is the mood in Bayelsa? We saw the Ijo youth walking on the streets and calling on young people not to allow themselves be used as political thugs. What's the mood ahead of the election?
As a matter of fact, there's been some pockets here and there of violence, I must have to say. The police got involved at some point. Even the Navy also got involved when they were trying to mop up light operations and light arms, firearms here and there in some particular local government areas in the state. But aside from that, everyone is looking forward to having it. Yes, he earlier mentioned during the news that the governorship candidate of the APC has been put back into the name. In fact, as I speak to you right now, INEC is meeting with all the political parties. That is where I'm talking to you from. And by tomorrow, they're also going to be signing a peace accord, because this violence, they don't want it to escalate more than the usual. And everybody, the boss is high, the tension is also high. And Bayelsa is one state that, you know, what happened the last 4 years. So people don't want to repeat what happened before. At the same time, they're also trying to see that they get these things right this time around.
Indeed. I'm talking about security with Mr. James now. Only recently, the IGP ordered the redeployment of the Commissioner of Police in Imo State. Mr. James, how do you see that, do you see that inject some level of trust and confidence in the voting public to come out and exercise their franchise on Saturday?
Well, fortunately, we were with the Commissioner of Police in Imo last week on Friday, and he also had mentioned the fact that he could likely be redeployed before the election because of the public perception about his role in the Adamawa election. According to him, sadly, that he was misunderstood and was not given the chance for fair hearing. But again, you can't, matters of perception are difficult to deal with. I think whatever the police had done for me is a step in the right direction, that you need whatever we can get to help to build public confidence in the ability of the security forces to manage the election. These are difficult elections, the 3-state elections, because of all the sort of issues that comes to the election. Bayelsa terrain concerns, Kogi violence, Imo also violence, and also if you think about how these states are also bordered with other states that are also suffering some sort of insecurity or the other. So, I mean, these are elections that you also don't want to have any of the security forces distracted. You want every attention, you want them to pay every attention to detail and ensure the protection of lives and property. As we speak, there have been concerns about some 6 or 8 local governments in Imo State and about how the police intend to manage it. And I know from the conversation with the Commissioner of Police last week, he had hinted that there will be heavy deployment between last weekend and to Wednesday of this week, that more and more troops will be deployed in the state. Hopefully that will help to beef up the security in the state and also show our public confidence in what they intend to do for the elections.
And Joseph, you spoke earlier about pockets of violence in Bayelsa State and the fact that different security agencies have had to, come in to quell the situation. But what have you gathered from the people themselves who would go out there to make their choice for who becomes their next governor? What are they saying? Are they willing and ready to come out and vote?
Yes, they are willing, as a matter of fact. In fact, what they are saying is provided there is the area is peaceful for them to go ahead and inside their franchise, that they will go ahead and do it. That's the reason why, in fact, as I speak to you, just yesterday, the IG of police was also in the state. And of course, I have the chief of army staff was as well in Bayelsa State. And they had to do this show of force around the capital for people to know that, yes, we are in town. They've been having a series of meetings with the security agencies, sister agencies as well. So the people are seeing that, yes, they are giving us the confidence that, yes, that you can come out and vote. So if that goes as according to plan, then at least I can speak of the capital, Yenagoa, and of course some other places. I cannot really tell about the ones that happens in the creeks, because people are always saying that there's a lot that's going to be happening in the creeks. But we also have that's why the Navy is involved as well with their gunboats and all of that. So if they can comb those areas and ensure that people can go about their voting peacefully, I'm sure that everybody will be happy to do it on Saturday.
All right, Joe. And finally to you, Mr. James, we have just concluded now the process of the general election that held earlier in the year. Do you think there are specific lessons that we should pick from this exercise going into this off-cycle election and subsequent elections in the country?
I think the biggest lessons to pick is managing expectation. We don't want stakeholders to be over-promising and under-delivering in our elections. Hopes were raised in the last elections, and those hopes were dashed. So I thought this election will be an opportunity for all the stakeholders involved to be able to rekindle that hope again, to be able to remedify whatever were the ills or the wrongs or the perceived wrongs that happened in the general election. So I think it's an opportunity for redemption, and we hope that stakeholders will do what is right by the people.
I sincerely appreciate you for talking to us. Yaga Africa's Program Manager for Election, Paul James, and our correspondent in Bayelsa State, Joseph Kunde. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing with us on TVC News at 1.
Thank you very much.